a 6'9", 6'10" kid.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm sure you like height or size became an issue for you. What's some of the things you heard coming out of high school?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it all. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard everything you could hear as an undersized guard. Especially being I was under recruited. I heard like he can't play at like the D1 level, right? Like people couldn't even think I could play at Crossroads. That was a huge that was a big deal breaker. Could even play varsity and for AD and stuff like that. So I've heard it all, but I mean my whole mindset is just to keep my head down and just like stay grinding, stay working. I never looked at my height as like a downgrade to like anyone else. Like I always use it as an advantage. Just getting to my sweet spots, using my like basketball savvy, that like feel, that like flow for the game to get me to my spots and my places, using my quickness. There's so much you could do as a undersized guard at any level you play at and do well at, you can draw fouls more than probably anyone else but a big man,
Right.
get to your spots, talking, be leader. Like you have so much power over
Absolutely.
everyone else, and you could use that to your advantage for sure.
How did you get to was USD? Was they recruiting you out of high school? How did that?
No, the
what made
USD
you
like
choose them?
landing there was like a different story. Like I was being recruited by Hawaii, like UC Riverside. I actually went unofficial to UC Riverside, Portland. Let's see, some Montana, UC Riverside. Yeah. So I was being, and then a whole bunch of like D2, D3s. But my boy who was like, yo, like they're having an open run at USD, you should go. And like my whole like plan for college was like, hey, I want to stay close to home. Like I don't want to be too far. Like I want to be like in a good system where like they love me just like everyone else, right?
Right.
So I was down. I went. I took the 2-hour ride there. Went there. I hooped, and just in an open scrimmage with the guys and stuff like that. And I just I went to work. I killed, right? Talked to the coaches and stuff. They were still like, oh, okay, we want to see him do it again. So very next week, they text my boy. They're like, hey, bring him down again. So I go down again. I do the same thing. Like I'm talking about like 30 points on them. Like I just going to work, right? And then I'm doing that. I did that 4 times. I went down 4 times, right?
Really?
Yeah, I went down 4 times. Like just trying to make a name for myself. Like making that statement. Like yo, I belong here. So after the 4th time, I got to speak to the head coach, now Lavin, and he was like, man, like he said one thing that stood out to me. Because they were watching, like, they would watch, like, all the way at the top where, like, the suites were and stuff like that. He's like, when I watch you play, he's like, you remind me of, like, a 6'5", like, 6'6" guard. Like, you don't even look, like, you don't play like your height. And, like, that stuck with me. And he just, like, told me how much he loved my game and how he think I can make an impact here and play for him. And he told me all the undersized guards he's had and like, where they're at now and how he's developed them. And I just thought it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer, yeah.
I mean, you're definitely a good player, definitely smooth on the court. I definitely like your game.
Yeah.
But for me as a coach, right, I get kids and I try to tell them like certain things won't work.
Yeah.
That you do now won't work at the next level.
No, for sure.
Could you tell me some things that used to work for you in high school versus being in college right now?
No, for sure. I think the physicality from high school to like the D1 level is huge. It's huge. Not necessarily like the skill gap, because you can be a skilled player in high school, and that will translate. That will translate to that D1 level, because there's only so much you could really like perfect, right? But I say getting to the rim is something like you really got to be cautious of at that next level. Like you can't play off one. Like you just can't play. It has to be off 2 everywhere.
Go off 2.
Off 2 pivots. You have to have sort of that like Jalen Brunson like game in the paint. Get off 2, and I mean it's really all pick and rolls at that level. So like if you can master that pick and roll in high school, that translates to that D1 level.
Did you do a lot of pick and rolls in high school?
I did, yeah. That's kind of my bread and butter. Like if I get a guy on my hip, like I can just go to work because I have control of all that. So I was doing a lot of pick and rolls in high school, not necessarily in like the games, but I figured like on the off season, like that's what I need to work on, and then catch and shoot threes, them corner threes, because you're gonna get a lot of them. You know.
So no dribble tween.
No, none of that.
No
none of
10, 15 dribbles to score.
None of that. We have something where we do 10 and 6. You got 10 seconds to make 6 passes in transition. If you don't, like, you're getting subbed out. Yeah, you
Really?
can't do none of that. None of between. Unless you're like maybe like a senior there, coach loves you. But, you know, that's your team. Like you can do a little bit of that, but you know, you can't be doing none of that, especially for my coach.